Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for remaining with us. We are Financial Markets. My name is Anthony, and I am your host, gladly presenting the program. Now, before we go any further, just a simple reminder here that OTEX has an initiative called Zabu. This initiative definitely launched early this year. Is an initiative by OTEX East Africa and OTEX Clearing, which of course are companies that help in trading on securities in East Africa. And this initiative was brought about the big brains of founders of OTEX, including the CEO, that is the chairman, Mr. Joseph Chitamirike, and other board of director members, saying that the stock markets have to be accessible, and other exchanges as well in East Africa have to be accessible to the common person. And in this, they discovered that mobile phones could be the easiest way to reach out. And they came up with this initiative with MTN in conjunction with MTN Uganda. And you can now dial *292# using your MTN SIM card. And you will be able to access a majority of shares, a majority of bonds and bills and other products or securities like the exchange traded funds as well, and these will be able to give you a little bit of what you need to know and learn about the stock exchange. And OTEX East Africa will offer you also an opportunity to learn more with their learning platform by dialing *292#, and definitely this will be a start of your investment journey as you venture into investing in the capital markets. They can also be reached out on their website. That's www.otexeastafrica.com for more information. But the options are very simple. You dial *292# and you follow the prompts, and you will be able to access securities across East Africa without an intermediate. Without need for a broker whatsoever, and they will give you a chance to take part in this kind of trade. That is OTEX East Africa for you. And now moving away to the stocks, we are seeing, of course, the stock market performance for several stocks here on the markets. But before I look at the all-share index, I would just love to look at the pricings of all the other companies here on the exchange as of the close of the market yesterday. And looking at some of the stocks here, we have Bank of Baroda, Uganda, that's traded at 80 cents. And this was the trading price by the close of the market back there of course, on Friday at 80 cents. And we are looking also at British American Tobacco at 15,000 Ugandan shillings, and this market is actually not moved. There was no volume traded last Friday. And then down to Centum Investment Company at 324.56 Ugandan shillings. It traded actually with a loss of about 0.62 Ugandan shillings in value. And down to Cipla Quality Chemical Industries at 69 cents. Cipla also did not have any movement in prices, and neither we had no movement in prices, but we had some volumes that were traded. A total of about 14,100 shares traded on Cipla Quality Chemicals Industries of Friday. Then we had DFCU Bank. DFCU at 550 traded about 20 shares in total to end the price of with a price of 550, which was the trading price prior to the day on Friday, to the opening the stocks on Friday. And then East African Breweries Limited lost by about 8.28 cents, as you can see, to a price of 4,391.16. One of the losers there on the market, after of course gaining for quite some time since the beginning of last week. If you remember, East African Breweries began so well last week, with prices from, of course, now the 3,900s and 800s into the 4,000s. Now it finished off Friday with a slight loss of 8.28 and the price of 4,391.16. Equity Bank Limited at 1,404 lost about 2.65 Ugandan shillings in value to trade at 1,404.85. Now equity also was among some of the people that actually remained resilient over the last week, but we're seeing him losing value at the end of about 2.65 to a price of 1,404. Down to Kenya Commercial Bank. Kenya Commercial Bank at 1,334.85. Lost by about 2.52 Ugandan shillings. And we are seeing that as the price that was closing the markets on Friday and opening them today. Down to Kenya Airways. Kenya traded at 121.87, which is a loss of about 0.23 Ugandan shillings. Then MTN Uganda went up actually by 1.45 Ugandan there. And then moving on to other stocks here, National Insurance Corporation at 6.2 Ugandan shillings. Of course, now trading, of course, the current, given the current situation that they have issued a bonus issue, they are trading at 6.2 cents. And there was no volume traded on Friday, neither was there any movement in this price. But notably, the shares that have been issued today by the bonus shares that have been issued by National Insurance Corporation are now, of course, floated on the main investment market segment of the Uganda Securities Exchange. And we are seeing that right now all shareholders that are in National Insurance Corporation are, of course, receiving or have received extra or bonus shares on the market. Now, something to note, for the next 2 days, of trading, we are going to see the market open for any kind of trading, for any price of trading for National Insurance Corporation. Now, this is quite something you must look out for. According to the boss of the Uganda Securities Exchange, this is an offer that rarely happens. It doesn't happen a lot, and they're giving this offer for 2 days. The shareholders are free to trade at what price they feel is convenient for them. So you can come out as a shareholder of Nick right now, say, hey, I want to trade my stock at 1,000. Yes? And if you meet enough customers that are willing to buy at 1,000, you're free to make a trade deal. Doesn't happen every day, but it's happening for the next 2 days. So for those of you who have shareholders in Nick, please be informed, be aware that today and tomorrow the markets are open. We're doing an open day marketing, and the market prices, you can trade at any price whatsoever that you feel like. If you feel like you want to trade at 1 shilling, well and good. If you feel like you want to trade at 6.2, which is the current price, well and good. The thing here is actually finding the person willing to buy at that price, and that is something that doesn't often happen at the Uganda Securities Exchange. But according to Mr. Paul Bwiso today, as of course he was officiating the listing of the 7 billion shares the 7 million shares, that have been given back to shareholders as a bonus issue by the National Insurance Corporation. So it's an open day, and you can use this, make use of the opportunity to trade on National Insurance Corporation at any price you find convenient as a shareholder. Down to National Media Group. National Media Group was one of the losers as well, losing by about 1.06 Ugandan shillings, and he lost a value of about to 561.62 Ugandan shillings. New Vision Printing and Publishing Company at 160 Ugandan shillings, was able to trade as well on the stock market, but did not have any movements there in prices, neither did it trade any volumes on the market. Stanbic Bank Uganda at 21.43 lost value by about 0.07 Ugandan shillings, as we have seen, but it traded a total of 36,891 shares on the markets. This was the total volume that was traded by Stanbic Bank Uganda, leading to a loss of about 0.07. Uganda Clays Limited also didn't have any trading, and we are seeing it closing off the market at 17.37 Ugandan shillings, and that was, of course, after also a significant drop there the previous few days, from prices of about 21 per shares per stock to now prices of about 17.37. Umeme Limited went also into the 230 mark. If you remember, Umeme began the year with a price of about 245, and right now it's trading at 230 Ugandan shillings. Jubilee Holdings Limited at 8,114.10, also lost by 15.30 Ugandan shillings. Of course, that was the trading here on the Uganda Securities Exchange last Friday. But now looking at the summary at the end of last weekday of last week, the last weekday of trading on the Uganda Securities Exchange, a total of 170,122 shares, corresponding to a market value of 23,214,371 Ugandan shillings were traded. So about 23.2 million was traded on the exchange on Friday. Compared with the previous USE trading day, Thursday data shows, of course, Friday data shows about 88% decline in volume. So in terms of how much was traded, we declined about 88%, and the 50% decline in turnover, that is the total value of shares. The current market capitalization of the Uganda Securities Exchange is 21.3 trillion Ugandan shillings. In the aggregate, only 4 Uganda Securities Exchange listed equities participated in trading, ending with only one gainer, that is MTN Uganda, with a 0.65% share price appreciation. And on the losing side, we also had Stanbic Bank Uganda, who came out last with an end of day price depreciation of 0.33% at 21.43 Ugandan shillings per share. He was followed by Centum Investment Company at 0.19% loss, and KCB Group at 0.19%, as well as Nation Media Group at 0.19%. MTN Uganda recorded the highest volume traded at 119,111 traded shares, followed by Stanbic at 36,891. Cipla Quality Chemical Industries traded 14,100, while DFCU traded only 20 shares. Regarding the performance of the USE market indices, the benchmark index, that is the USE All Share Index, compared to the previous day, lost by about 0.24 points, closing, that is a 0.02%, closing to points over 1,238.29. And this is exactly what we are talking about in terms of the All Share Index. At a loss of about 0.24 points, that's a 0.02%. We are seeing it at currently around 1,238 points. And this means the index has still gone down. And according to Mr. Paul Busso, still on the event at National Insurance Corporation, he said the indices haven't performed that well. The OSHA index, also the local company index, but individuals have stood out in terms of performance over time on the exchange. And we are seeing that right now, this definitely was on Friday. By the close of the markets on Friday, we are seeing that, that index lingering between 1,230 and 240 as well. Now, this index performance represents a 1 week gain of about 6.46%, a 4 week loss of about 1.1%, and an overall to date loss of about 12.84%. The USE local company index, on the other hand, increased by 0.31% to reach 271.82 points, making it a 1 week gain of about 0.94% and a 4 week loss of 3.92%, and a year-to-date loss of 16.28%. That is the index. Remember, the performance, the aggregate performance of the stocks that are listed on the Uganda Securities Exchange, and in particular tracks the performance of all the listed equities, including those that are cross-listed. But the local company index now tracks the performance of the domestic companies here in Uganda, and looking into what the local companies have to offer for the markets here in Uganda as well. That was the performance of the Uganda Securities Exchange. Let us Nairobi and see how did Nairobi do over last week, as we wound up the week on Friday. Now, the Nairobi Stock Exchange, look at it because of two reasons or three. Number one, is the oldest stock exchange, starting in 1954, and as the East African, benchmark index, benchmark stock. Also looking at, the fact that it's the largest with over 65 listed equities, and with the highest market capitalization, and also in the biggest economy in East Africa, that is the Kenyan economy. And so we look at it for those reasons, but also the fact that it presents lots of business opportunities for you and me here in Uganda, because we do a lot of trading, with Nairobi, and also most of the companies that are listed on Nairobi have subsidiaries all over Uganda, Kenya, Tanzania, African countries. So it makes it a very interesting market when it comes to investing. And looking at how, of course, it's governed, the Capital Markets Authority of Kenya, the jurisdiction under which the Nairobi Stock Exchange are operating. And I think in 2014, during their initial offer, the Nairobi Securities Exchange demutualized to raise 627 million Kenyan shillings. And the exchange now has a full board of directors and is a separate profit and so it's listed on the exchange as well. It has several indices, including the Nairobi 25 and the Nairobi 20, monitoring the 25 and 20 top companies respectively. We also have the FTSE and also these indices like the 25 and the other indices like the 19 and so on, 15, sorry. And so these are some of the indices that we track and see how they perform. Looking at the OSHA index, the OSHA index for Nairobi Securities Exchange went up by about 1.34 points, and that was a 1% increase in points compared to the previous day of trading. Now, the Nairobi Securities Exchange, as we all know, is divided into four markets. They have the main market segment, which includes the big companies, the big boys, Nairobi Big Business Ventures, and so on, and other big companies. That is the main segment. They also have an alternate segment. That's an alternate investment segment that looks at the medium-sized companies. They also have a third enterprise known as the growth enterprise segment. This is for the small businesses that are just starting or have started but want to lift off the ground and become bigger. And this growth enterprises segment was initiated in 2013 for the companies that are small and just starting to raise capital through the capital markets. There's also a fourth segment called the fixed income security segment. These cater for the bonds and the bills, the treasury bonds and the corporate bonds, as well as the treasury bills that are issued there in Kenya. Looking at the performance of some of the counters on the market, especially looking at the gainers and the losers, we had ABSA on the gaining side. ABSA ended the day with a trading price of about 11.2 pence and about 84,000 that were traded. We also had Bamburi Cement at about 35.55 Kenyan shillings after appreciating in price valuation by 0.1 Kenyan shillings. And it traded a total of about 8,700 shares. Then we had British American Tobacco, Kenya, gaining at about 4.25 but to a price of 414.5. Really, we can see quite many counters with a lot of activity. So unlike our market here, the Nairobi market is a really very active market, and definitely that is why it interests us a lot when it comes to, and we can expect and anticipate highly that it's one of the things that actually monitor the performance of different stocks, including Uganda, Rwanda, because looking at the Uganda Securities Exchange, we have over 8 companies listed cross-listed, and our own 10 listed here locally. So it is something quite interesting. We also have Kabasit investment that is lost by about 0.4, and other counters as well, which we may not be able to look into performance because of time. But there are 65 listings on the Uganda Securities Exchange. You can also look into the Uganda Securities Exchange portal, and you can access their pricings and what you can do to invest in the market there. But let's look at the end of day trading summary as per Friday. Now, at the end of last weekday of trading, that was Friday, and the Nairobi Securities Exchange had a total of 8,658,900 shares in 1,107 deals, corresponding to a market value of 378 million Kenyan shillings. I'm just rounding off for purposes of time, but in actual sense, it's more than that. It's about 378,343,800 shillings. That's about 378.3 million Kenyan shillings that were traded. Compared to the previous day of trading, that was on Thursday, the data shows a 51% decline in volume, a 45% decline in turnover, and the current market capitalization of Nairobi is 2.11 trillion Kenyan shillings. That's the current market capitalization. In the aggregate, we have 48 large Nairobi Securities Exchange listed equities that participated in trading, and they ended with 22 gainers and 19 losers. And Express Kenya led the gainers with 9.76% appreciation in shares, and closing at 3.6 Kenyan shillings per share. He was followed by the Nairobi Securities Exchange at 9.68%, and the Sasini Tea and Coffee Company also followed, and Home Africa were among the top gainers in Nairobi. Nairobi Business Ventures came out last, and he came out with an end of day price depreciation of 8.82% at 3.41 per share. and he was followed by Stanley Fahari Incorporation, Income Rate, and we also had Longhorn Publishers following in the losers. In terms of volume, Safaricom recorded the highest volume of 4.9 million shares that were traded. And then he was followed by Equity Group Holdings at 923,500. Cooperative Bank of Kenya at 432 shares, and Kakuzi at 428.1 shares. Regarding the performance of the indices, the Nairobi Stock Exchange market indices, the benchmark index, the all-share index, came in with an increase of 1.34 points. That's a 1% increase to about 135.39 points, representing a one-week gain of 8.36%. That is the Nairobi Stock Exchange summary for you there. It's a great market. You can try it, definitely with the help of some stockbrokers here and there. They can help you start investing in that. We're going into a short break. We return with our top stories.